So here's how to add a user to a SharePoint site. You're going to go to your Site Actions menu and come down to Site Permissions. And in this first screen, what we're actually looking at are those three groups that I mentioned: the owners group, the members group, and the visitors group. And if you look over here, it's being explicit that the visitors group gets read permission level. The owners group gets full control permission level. The members group gets contribute permission level. There's a couple of other entries in here which I would say right now you can safely ignore, that are kind of being used for little one-off reasons inside SharePoint and internal reasons. Visitors, members, and owners are the classic three SharePoint groups to work with. If I look at the owners group, what I actually find in here, I've got two people in there. There's me and Heather Conway. They're both owners. They can create sites in this site collection. They can manipulate sites. They can create and delete lists and libraries, or even delete entire sites. If I go to my visitors group, I don't have anybody there. If I go to my members group, I don't have anybody there. Let's say I want to give one person just visiting access or read access. I'm going to click on the visitors group, which said there's nobody there, and under the new option, say add users. You can either use an individual name. In this case, I'm going to use Jeannie. I can hit Control K just to make sure this gets looked up in SharePoint. Yes, it knows who Jeannie is, and click OK. Jeannie is now in the visitors group, which means she has read access and only read access to this site. A couple of minutes ago, if she tried to come to this site, she would have gotten access denied. Now when she comes to this site, she'll be able to see things but not change anything. Most people, however, in your collaboration sites will be expected to be in the members group. That most people will be expected to change and edit this site. So what if I have a lot of people that I want to add? Well, here's what you should do. You should think about any existing Active Directory groups, any distribution lists, any groups that already exist in your organization, because SharePoint will probably understand those groups. So in members, I'm going to add users here, but instead of using individual names, I know that I've got a group called operations, which IT take care of. They take care of people when they join the company being put into that group, or when they move out being taken out of it. So by just adding operations here, what that means is anybody inside that group is now considered a member on this site. They are a contributor on this site. They can change and edit list items and library items, but they can't create new sites and they can't change the look and feel of the site that they're in. And I just made my life easier, because by adding an Active Directory group or a distribution list that's being taken care of by somebody else, well, they can continue taking care of that, adding and removing people from it, and I just use the fruits of their labor. Going back to my site permissions, while you can create different groups, and I'll show exactly how, there's a couple of things that you might want to look at, such as permission levels, which tells you what are the permission levels that SharePoint knows about. And in this case, it knows about a couple more than we've seen so far. Not only does it know about full control, but it knows about design and limited access. Now, a lot of these you won't have to use. Again, the big three are full control, contribute, and read. But design is an interesting one. Design is a little bit between contribute and full control. Sometimes contribute is not enough. If you're only a contributor, you could not, for example, make a change to a page and rearrange web parts on the home page. But if you have full control, then you could even delete entire sites. So design gives you a little bit in between there. You can do everything that a contributor can. You can also customize the look of a SharePoint site, but you can't make new sites. You can even create your own permission levels that are combinations of little tiny pieces within SharePoint. I don't suggest it if you don't know for sure that's something that you want to do. Now remember that, going back to my permission screen, when I create a site, permission levels that I set on the top level site will automatically filter down. That's the thing that I like to keep as much as possible. So right now on my top level site, I'm in a team site here, and I have a blank site beneath it as a sub-site. And the permissions to the sub-site will be exactly the same as the parent. In fact, I'm in this sub-site right now. It may not look all that obvious, but if I look at my Navigate Up button, I can see that I'm inside Team Site, inside a site called blank, and on the home page of that one. If I go to its site permissions, what you're going to see is a message here saying this website inherits permissions from its parent. And I do have an option to stop inheriting permissions and then copy all those entries across and start changing them. But as much as possible, you want to avoid that. It's much easier to allow permission levels to filter down to a new site. And if they're significantly different, you should really be thinking about making a new site collection.